Welcome to Backstories, the podcast where we dig deep into the untold tales behind the people, places, and moments that shape our world. Every month, we'll uncover the hidden narratives that inspire, surprise, and challenge us. So, grab your headphones and get ready to journey into the past, one backstory at a time.
All right, so first up tonight, we're going to call him a professional storyteller, as heard on Stoop. Joe is here. Harold Lloyd, I'm not.
I just sprung my knee, so that was a long walk. Hi, I am just going to relate a little one. I have a history of getting jobs where everything I do wrong is immediately in the newspaper or in the public or the internet. I used to be the facility manager for the American Visionary Art Museum, and every time the neon sign went out, I would end up in city paper. And after that, I went to BOPA, which is now a little bit under siege, but I managed the Broma Seltzer Arts Tower in Baltimore, which is a big clock tower that you used to be able to see in the ballpark before they built that horrible hotel. And one of the jobs that I took on there, and I was warned against this from the very start, is I maintained the clock in the Broma Seltzer Arts Tower, and it's the oldest four-face Seth Thomas clock in the country. One of the largest in the world, and I have no experience in clock maintenance whatsoever. Everything I know because I drove French cars exclusively, and I'm used to weird mechanical things. But my boss, who knew me and had recruited me from the Visionary, warned me. She says, I don't want you to do any of this Harold Lloyd stuff where you're like hanging off the clock hands in a silent movie scene. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. But I did do general maintenance on the clock, and one of the things that I had to do was get in there and adjust it and work on it. And at the time, it was before we'd restored it to the original mechanism, so it had a motor driving it instead of a pendulum and a weight. I would get up there towards the end of my shift usually, get up on a ladder and brush all the gears and the mechanisms and get everything working great, and I was very proud of myself with that thing. The only thing is, I had little mistakes I'd make here and then. Bear in mind, this is a while ago, so I was not fully responsible at the time. But one day I went home, got on the MARC train back to my home in Laurel, came in the next morning, and I look up, and the clock is wrong. And I'm just going to as soon as I get off the thing, I'm getting messages. They're like, the clock's wrong. The clock's telling the wrong time. The clock's wrong. I get in there. I go up the elevator. It's up to the 16th floor, basically. And I go in there, and what's happened is the clock mechanism, it's a beautiful thing. And, you can do tours of that place on Saturdays, so you should go up and do it sometime. The clock had these little balance shafts that they had added to the gears because over time the clock hands had shrunk and lost weight. And what had happened was the last time I was working on it, one of those balance arms picked up the ladder where I left it, rotated it all the way around the room and jammed it against the ceiling of this immense clock mechanism room. And I got in, I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? Fortunately, I had another ladder. So I got up my other ladder, I got up there, and the thing had really jammed it up there. It was just holding it with this bar. And I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take a wrench and loosen the thing up so that the clock is disconnected from its gear train. And then I'll just unwind it, take the ladder down, everything will be fine. Trouble was, what I did is I went in there and I got the wrench and I turned it a little bit and I turned it a little bit and I was kind of propping myself up all over, and I'm standing on the platform for the clockworks. And as second I loosened it up, there was kind of a loud screeching sound because I hadn't realized the motor had just been winding that thing up all night, building up tension in that bar and the ladder. And the second I released that tension, it grabbed my shirt and pulled me up into the mechanism, ripped my shirt in half, and as I flailed around, I tore my pants from the fly all the way around to the back. So they had become kind of chaps, The clock chapped me. And the trouble was, I'm sitting there, I don't even know what to do. I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to have to find something to wear. I am a very prepared person. I always keep in my car spare underwear and spare socks. And occasionally a spare shirt because I tend to get that like pizza grease spot all the time. Do I have one now? But it shredded my clothes. I got it unwound. I'm sitting there kind of in the shreds of a shirt and these pants that are really just like a belt with two flaps. And I worked the rest of the day in my office in the Bromo Seltzer Tower with the door closed. And I did tell my one friend that was working in the building, I said, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to get home because I ride the MARC train back and I didn't have spare pants in there. What I did have though, and this explains a lot about a lot of things about me, is I did have spare underwear, spare socks, not useful in this context, but fortunately, I also had a complete nun's habit that I made for myself because I am also the spiritual head of the kinetic sculpture race in Baltimore. And every year I get up, I do a homily, bless the race, and then go dance in my nun's habit. So towards the end of the day, I'm thinking, I'm just going to have to wear my nun's habit home. But at the time, I'm towards the last train, and if you miss that last MARC train, I don't care what their website says, there is no guaranteed ride home. And I'm like watching the clock, all of a sudden I realize, oh my God, I gotta go right now. I flip on that outfit as fast as I can and I go charging down the stairs and I'm like, I'd seen the train coming in. Usually if I see the train coming into the MARC station, that means I'm gonna miss it on the way out. But I ran like a bat out of hell. So in 2011, if you saw a fat bearded nun running like crazy for the train, that would have been me. And I got there and I get up to the train, people are loading in and I'm having to maintain this sense of composure in that, this is what I always wear. Is this unusual in some way? And I go and I'm being very calm and relaxed and I get on the train and I sit on the seat and it feels very cold. And I realize that I tucked my habit into my underwear and had the pantyhose experience that many women will be familiar with. So I very discreetly pulled my habit back out of my drawers and acted as normally as I could and made it home. And that's it.
Wow.